in on all of the action with DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports. And this week, DraftKings has a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes up for grabs. Draft your lineup and feel the sweat like never before. Every run, pass, and catch means more with DraftKings. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Nothing adds to the excitement of watching the game quite like having a shot at millions of dollars in prizes. Download the DraftKings app now and use code GREENIE. For a limited time, new users can get a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes this week. Don't miss out on the Week 4 action. Enter code GREENIE to get a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes with your first deposit. That's code GREENIE. Only at DraftKings. Make it rain. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Well, here we are again, and this is looking like a pretty lopsided matchup, Jim.
That's right, Ron. I mean, in one corner, we've got a 175-pound guy, and in the other, a 6,000-ton heavyweight train.
Jim, this guy has no idea what he's getting himself into.
Ron, the size difference alone is staggering.
Oh, unbelievable, Jim. And this guy is acting like he doesn't have a care in the world.
What is this guy thinking, Ron?
Well, this is one of those rare moments where I actually find myself at a loss for words.
I can hardly bear to watch.
It's no contest. Every day, people tempt fate and die trespassing on railroad tracks. Railroad tracks are more dangerous than you think. See tracks, think train. For more safety tips and information, visit ctracksthinktrain.org.
Your greatest calls in sports history, the play, Cal versus Stanford. Stanford took a 20-19 lead on a field goal with 4 seconds left. The Golden Bears used 5 lateral passes on the ensuing kickoff to return the scorer-winning touchdown and earn a 25-20 victory. Believing that the game was over, members of the Stanford band came on the field midway through the return, which added to the confusion and folklore in one of the greatest calls in sports history.
Harmon will probably try to squib it, and he does. Ball comes loose, and the Bears have to get out of bounds. Rogers along the sideline, another one. They're still in deep trouble at midfield. They tried to do a couple of... The ball is still loose as they get it to Rogers. They give it back now to the 30. They're down to the 20. Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. He's going into the end of the Bears. The Bears have won. The Bears have won. Oh, my God. The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending.
It's time for another edition of Tomahawk Talk. I'm Chad Brilliante as we take a look into Florida State football. Well, the Noles had another tough outing, 52-10 loss to their rival Miami. Coach Mike Norvell wasn't there, but he did speak to the media after the game.
Every person a part of this team, every coach, staff, every player, we understand that there's great strides that need to be made, and they need to be made quickly. It's one of the things that we've emphasized, that we have to be able to carry over the work from practice into the game and maintain that consistency throughout the course of a 60-minute contest, and continuing to focus on our discipline, our details, our communication, and then we've got to go out there, and when the opportunity presents itself, we've got to make the play and truly seize the moment that we have.
The 0-2 Noles should be able to pick up their first victory as they take on Jacksonville State this Saturday at 3 o'clock, that you can catch on News Radio 92.3, our sister station. This has been another edition of Tomahawk Talk.
Your Alabama Roll Tide update, I'm JP. Nick Saban has never lost a season opener while coaching Alabama. Saban's second-ranked Crimson Tide looked just fine as they began their SEC-only schedule on Saturday night. Mac Jones threw for 249 yards and 2 scores in less than 3 quarters of work. Jalen Waddle and Najee Harris had dynamic performances on offense, helping Alabama roll to a 38-19 victory over the rebuilding Tigers. Alabama looks to move to 2-0 this week as they will play host to Jimbo Fisher and the Texas A&M Aggies at 2:30 on CBS.
What'd you do this time, Brad?
I'm in the doghouse after my hunting trip last weekend.
Yeah, I was too. I blew off our date.
How'd you get out of the doghouse?
Stillwater's Day in Medical Spa. I got her a gift card. It took 3 minutes at swmedspa.com. She booked it this Saturday.
Saturday? So 9 holes then?
Tea time's at 8.
To enjoy a hassle-free guys weekend, treat her to a gift card from Stillwater's Day in Medical Spa. Follow Stillwater's on Facebook or Instagram to enter contests and win great prizes. Or visit swmedspa.com.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Your ridiculous facts, I'm JP. The official length of a marathon was defined as 26,219 miles because it was exactly the length of the course at the Olympic Games in London in 1908. Doesn't really matter for me because I couldn't do it anyway. And since 1896, soccer fields in Germany have to be free of trees. Maybe I'm wrong here, but doesn't this seem like a here's your sign moment? Either way, that's your ridiculous facts. I'm JP.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome in to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Tuesday afternoon. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Obviously, as always, finally it's football season, but we have plenty to talk about in a little bit of time. So won't waste too much time here, but as we always start off our show, we'll continue to do so. I want to thank our first responders and healthcare workers. Once again, what these folks do day in and day out, obviously with COVID-19, it gets enhanced, Hurricane Sally, everything that's been going on. These folks are out there every single day, no matter what is going on, trying to get us back to some normalcy, protecting us, everything above and beyond, going above the call of duty. And we appreciate them so much for what they do. And once again, we understand what's going on in our country. We have a lot of unrest. We can't ignore that. But let's make it clear, we do not support evil people, but we do support our first responders and healthcare workers. We have tremendous law enforcement, firefighters, EMT, nurses, doctors, all those folks out there. And look, we could talk about it for hours upon hours, but we won't do that. We just want to make it clear. We thank those folks for their service and what they do. And we understand what it means to serve, being a military town around here. So once again, we thank those folks for what they do, as well as obviously, look, during the COVID-19 and just real quick, the grocery store employees, truck drivers, all the essential workers, things are starting to get back to normal. I know we're not out of the woods yet with COVID-19, but we thank those folks for what they've done during this time, as well as everybody during Hurricane Sally. Some of you are still being affected, and our thoughts and prayers go out to you. But the American Red Cross, the Lines Workers, Salvation Army, all the organizations that have been helping and are continuing to help. We appreciate all those folks. But, look, we got a ton to talk about today. So, Coach, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well. And there's so many people. You're right. I mean, it makes you think. So many people we need to be grateful for their activities and their contributions. And you do a good job of making sure that people understand that each day. I second that.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach. And like you said, we could spend a long time. And I was just thinking in my head of there's so many people that we could talk about. But you know what? Those folks, we appreciate everybody. And we appreciate our sponsors as well, the Levin Papantonio Law Firm, Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, obviously Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range, Bob Tyler Toyota, all those folks out there. We appreciate them. And they're a big reason why we can come on and talk some football with you. But you know what? Once again, I want to remind people we have a contest that's going on. I'll be posting it later on today for our, moving on our NFL, Talk Football, NFL picks, and college picks. We pick 10 games each week. You go on there, and it'll be on our ESPN Pensacola Facebook page. I'll post it multiple times throughout the week. I already got the games picked out for this upcoming week, but go on our ESPN Pensacola Facebook page, pick the games, pick the winners. Whoever you think is going to win, text it to 850-623-1330. All the rules and everything is on there, so it's foolproof, I promise you. And look, once you do that, you pick the tiebreaker score as well, just in case. We had to use that tiebreaker score this week in the NFL side of things. But you win free range time from one of our proud sponsors, Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range, as well as a $20 gift card to Hot Spot Barbecue. And like I always say about Hot Spot, you will smell it before you see it. So great people over there off of 9th Avenue and LaRua Street. But, Coach, look, we got plenty to talk about as always. So going to jump right into this. The game last night, the Chiefs and the Ravens. Now, obviously, the Chiefs, dominant. They surprised me the way they came out and played. But once again, Coach, you made it very clear. Until they get beat, this is the Super Bowl champions. They went out and proved it last night. And I'll be honest with you. Of course, Patrick Mahomes looked fantastic. Andy Reid, they had a great game plan. But I was more impressed. Even though Patrick Mahomes was 31 of 42, 385 yards, 4 touchdowns, I was more impressed with Steve Spagnuolo's defense shutting down Lamar Jackson. All we heard about Lamar Jackson was, you know what, these are two great quarterbacks. And look, Lamar is a great player, a dynamic player. We've seen that before, what he can do with his legs. He was shut down. Now, he did have 9 carries for 83 yards, but passing, 15 to 28 for 97 yards and a touchdown. Coach, if I'm taking something away from that game, first off, the Chiefs turned it on. You know, we talk about it the last week against the Chargers. They had to squeak a game through with a game-winning field goal right there, and you look at that game and go, wait a minute, they didn't look very good. But elite teams win those games like that they were going to lose. Now, this week, they showed back up, and, Coach, like I said, if I have to take anything away from this game, Steve Spagnuolo did a heck of a job game planning, and that defense went out and just dominated last night.
Yeah, there's no question about that. In fact, yesterday I heard 2 comments by so-called commentators, experts, you know, on the game of football, who said, quite frankly, we're picking Baltimore to win the game because it's impossible, virtually impossible, to stop Jackson. You can't do it. You just can't do it because he'll kill you with his legs and his arm. Well, you saw how impossible it was to stop Jackson. And I've said all along, you know, let people have time to get ready. They're a handicapped or a quasi one-armed football team. You can't play with one arm tied behind you. And right now they don't have all of the capabilities offensively that a team that is proficient throwing the football has. And you can't win consistently, or the big ones certainly, if you can't be extremely proficient in throwing the football, meaning you've got to reach those outside numbers, you've got to reach the outside sideline on both sides, and you've got to make them defend 53.5 yards wide and at least 50 to 60 yards deep. Now, if you do that, then I think you are in a position to say that it is very, very difficult to stop you. So anyway, give a lot of credit to Kansas City. They deserve it. They look good, and certainly they can handle it without any question. The passing and the running game. They got a good football team, and game planned well. But anyway, I think that's the case. That there's some other people that are going to tie Baltimore down unless they can come up with a little bit more versatility offensively.
Yeah, it is going to be very interesting because once again, we talked about this last year. The Titans had a game plan and let Lamar run around, do his thing. I tell you what, Kansas City did an even better job of it last night. Things just looked out of sorts. Lamar looked confused. The team looked confused. They didn't play with that fire because Kansas City just continued to put the pedal down. And when you look at it, Coach, they had 5 receivers that had 4 receptions or more for Kansas City. I think that's great because that's spreading the ball around. Kelsey, Hardman, Hill, Edwards-Helaire, Watkins, those guys right there, that's a dynamic group. And Patrick Mahomes looked as good as advertised. The running game was good last night with Edwards-Helaire. Edwards-Helaire was a great pickup for them. That has solidified them. But moving on here, Coach, the Titans, obviously, I'm sure everybody has gotten the alerts. Everybody kind of is trying to figure out what's going on right now. But the NFL made it through 48 regular season games without a COVID-19 issue. Now they have a little bit of one here. 3 players for the Tennessee Titans have tested positive. 5 staff members have. Now, as of right now, they've closed their facilities until Saturday. Obviously, they'll prepare for Sunday's home game against the Steelers remotely, but the Titans, as of right now, will be unable to practice, which, has raised some questions of whether they'll be able to play on Sunday. But, Coach, looking at this, there was an interesting fix. Now, the Titans have a Week 7 bye week. The Steelers play the Ravens in Week 7, and both the Steelers and the Ravens have Week 8 byes. Now, hang on with me. I know a lot going on here. So the NFL could move the Steelers and Titans to Week 7, and then the Steelers-Ravens to Week 8. But obviously, when you're talking about it, that would mean the Steelers have 3 road games in a row at Tennessee, at Baltimore, and then at Dallas. But if we're trying to fix this, Coach, that's a way to fix this. But, Coach, what have you heard with everything going on with Tennessee right now? I know you have some ties to that. And what do you think about the schedule fix here?
Well, I think there is the possibility of a fix. And as long as there's a possibility of a fix, then that's a major plus. And the NFL can say this is what it's going to be. I don't care how inconvenient it may be to you. This is what it's going to be for the National Football League. Now, this is scary. I'm just going to tell you. If there that somewhere, somehow, that penetrated their facility, and they played Minnesota last week, so there's another problem. But I don't know. It's kind of scary to me that they're announcing this many. There could be more. JP, to be honest with you, and I'm an optimist, not a pessimist by every standard. So, but I think they can overcome this by jumping on it right away, which they've done, being up front with it and getting the cleansing done that they need to do in their facility, and quarantining whoever they need to quarantine, treatment, you name it. Jump on it, get it done, and get back as soon as you can. But it's a little scary to me that there may be more than is being reported right now.
Yeah, I think now the Vikings, as of today, have 0 positive, which is a great sign. But, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. Sometimes, it's just, look, COVID-19, this is what we got. Now, for people out there, the NFL knows that this was a possibility. Teams knew what they signed up for, that this could happen. They've done a great job up until this point. And, I saw that an outside linebacker coach for Tennessee, the defensive play caller there, he had tested positive on Saturday. And so they had obviously slipped him out, and he was not there on Sunday. But not sure, put 2 and 2 together. I have no idea. But once again, I think.
Let me intervene and say this to you. I'll almost guarantee that this came outside some way, somehow. They did not adhere to a protocol some way, somehow. Otherwise, this would not have happened. It came from a lack of adherence, I think, just a common mistake you'd make any day of the week type thing. I'm just going to bet you that's what happened. Somebody got into their facility that had not been under the same scrutiny, and that's what happened. I'd almost guarantee you that's what happened. So you just got to stay with the good example of how you have to stay tight, strict with the protocols, and regardless of who they inconvenience, that's what you have to do.
Yeah, and that's all you can do. And, following those protocols has worked, and we've seen that. But at this point right now, I think it's probably I think we'll hear. Now, the NFL is prepared. They know how to handle situations, and then we're learning this on the fly. Now, they obviously, if they thought that they were going to go an entire season with nothing happening, I think that would be foolish to think that. I think the NFL has done a great job. So we'll be here, and I think they're trying to get the information right now as well, and working with the Titans and the Steelers too, and also the Vikings. We'll see what happens, but I believe that game personally. This is me, not a source, anything like that. That game will be postponed, and look, that week 7, we may see it move to week 7. So we'll see what happens, but nonetheless, I think it's everybody's best interest, including the Steelers, that they probably don't play this week. But moving on here, Coach, real quick, couple things before we go to break. The Eagles, Dallas Goedert has a small ankle fracture and obviously will be out a little bit here. Now, once again, this is another weapon for the Philadelphia Eagles that Carson Wentz loses. And we talked about a little bit about Carson Wentz. And for people that just want to dismiss him and say it's time to bench him, I just say go and look at what they have on the roster. I mean, it's nearly impossible to play in the NFL when you have a roster that has been just littered with injuries like they have. And Carson Wentz, I think, is trying to do it all himself because he feels he has to, and to a certain extent, he kind of does. But at the same time, I think, Coach, this is terrible. The Eagles, I mean, they're 0-2-1 right now. They just tied the Bengals. They really should have ended up losing that game, but it is what it is. But, Coach, yet another injury, and a big one, because remember, Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert were the two leading receivers on the team last year.
Yeah, they're just, gosh, occasionally this happens to a team where it happened to us in Buffalo one year. It's just beyond anything that you would imagine, certainly beyond the odds. And they stretch the odds to the hilt. But occasionally it happens. You just have a run of them, and there's not a thing you can do about it. You try everything you can to prevent injury. The other thing it does, when you have so many injuries, it slows everything else down for you. You just have common sense and human reaction is to slow practices down so you don't get the same intensity and practice. You don't get the same number of reps. Sometimes you have to cut practices short. So it affects you in a number of ways.
Yeah, we'll see. Once again, the Eagles, it's very unfortunate. But how about this? They are still in the running for that division. That division is that bad right now. So it's we'll see. I mean, but moving on here, Coach, quick Florida State news. If they could use a positive, yeah, they definitely could. Let's just call it what it is. After their drubbing 52-10, they will get Mike Norvell back on the sideline. He's going to coach Florida State Saturday against Jacksonville State. There's another positive. They need a big win. They need some confidence. This is a team right now that's reeling. Hasn't looked good. Obviously, Norvell was not there the other night. He was doing everything remotely. But, Coach, when you look at Florida State, I've had a bunch of fans, Florida State fans, friends of mine, text me last night, hey, where do we go from here? Is there a positive? Is there a silver lining? Are we going to get better? Coach, I'm going to ask you. Now, you've been a coach. Obviously, you've been a player in the NFL, in college. You coached in the NFL as well. When you look at Florida State with Mike Norvell, first off, I know we've talked a little bit about it, but do you believe he is the guy to turn this team around, and do you believe that you'll see some progression moving forward this season?
Oh, I think you keep your hopes up and not just keep your spirit up, Florida State. I think you have an outstanding coach. I like Norvell. He's going to turn it around. That's going to take a little while. He's not going to do it overnight. But he's going to have to get some different players in there, and then they've got to adhere to his program. This is not a Florida State program that hey, you coach the way Florida State wants you to coach. You got to adhere to his program, and he's a winner. So I think no question about it. At some point, he will have that football team playing very, very good football.
Yeah, I agree. I think remember he just came in December, so it's going to take a lot of turning around. And now I think a big thing is the quarterback situation has got to change. I really think that could give them a tremendous spark if they can get Chuba Purdy or one of these other guys in there and get them healthy. I think that will help turn it around. They do have some athletes out there. You've got a good defensive line. You know what? Be honest with you, you can't get any worse at this point. You got embarrassed by a rival, and you know what? This is a breaking point for a team like this because guys will either buy in or they'll get out. And Norvell is a no-nonsense guy, and that's exactly what Florida State needs right now. It's going to take some time, Florida State fans, but like you said, Coach, your hopes have got to be high. So we're going to go to a quick break, and hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about the NFL Week 4 power rankings. Some interesting moves here, and after the Chiefs' drubbing of the Ravens last night, well, I don't think we'll see the Ravens maybe up there toward the top. We'll see, but we'll talk about all that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Would you let other people order for you?
He'll have some Lyonnaise.
No, I won't. So why let others make decisions about your older years? Do you want your kids or perfect strangers choosing where you'll live or how your money gets spent?
No.
Go to longtermcare.gov and find your own path forward. It takes you step by step through everything you need to consider about aging and all your options. Longtermcare.gov. Plan now to stay in charge or pay later.
How about a mohawk? Very funny.
2020's been a pretty crazy year, and when you lock up your business or tuck in your kids, you want to feel secure. But nobody has time to wait for operators. You need local security, and Panhandle Alarm has been that option for over 40 years. Panhandle Alarm installs proven equipment, which virtually eliminates false alarms. Their 24-hour call service is local with over 50 professional trained employees. When it comes to feeling secure, isn't it nice to know that a neighbor has your back? Give them a call today at 478-2108 and keep your family and business safe with Panhandle Alarm.
College football, it's the game you wake up early on Saturdays for, even though kickoff isn't until 7. The game where the Goodyear blimp becomes a Hall of Famer. The game that goes just beyond school spirit, fandom, or love of the sport. It's the game where the comebacks happen. It's the game where anything can and will happen as long as you have the drive. Because college football is the game that moves you. We get it because it moves us too. Goodyear, more driven.
Here's your quick Week 5 top 25 in college football. At number 1 is the Clemson Tigers, followed by Alabama at 2, Florida at 3, and Georgia 4. Notre Dame checks in at number 5 with Ohio State 6, Auburn 7, Miami 8, and Texas number 9. Penn State is 10 with UCF 11, North Carolina 12, Texas A&M, and Oregon 13 and 14. Cincinnati at 15, Mississippi State 16, Oklahoma State 17, with Oklahoma, Wisconsin, LSU 18, 19, and 20. Tennessee is 21 with BYU at 22, Michigan 23, Pittsburgh 24, and Memphis 25.
Hey, this is Jay Williams. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson this Tuesday afternoon. Appreciate you guys joining with us as always. And look, we're going to jump back into this. Now, Coach, look, obviously we have we got past NFL Week 3 here, some surprising teams, some 0-3 teams that maybe we didn't think were going to be 0-3, but they are at this point. So we're going to jump into our NFL power rankings for Week 4 coming up here. Coach, number 1. The Kansas City Chiefs, after their dominating win last night against the Baltimore Ravens. Are they number 1 in your book, Coach?
I think you have to keep them there right now. I have no real argument with that. I do think that at some point the field's going to level some, and you'll see that as the season wears on. But right now, no, I think you got to keep them there.
Yeah, I would agree there. Look, you said it yesterday. They're the champions till they get beat. That's it. And they look good. They looked really good last night. Very surprising after that close game against the Chargers. Number 2, the Seattle Seahawks, 3-0, Coach. they just continue. Russell Wilson continues to win. Let's just put it that way. Boy, he is on quite the tear. I mean, just saving that team. I've said it before that without him, this team would be mediocre for many years. I mean, no offense to Pete Carroll. I'm not the biggest Pete Carroll fan, but regardless, Russell Wilson continues to carry this team. They beat Dallas 38-31. Coach, are they your second best team in the NFL?
Well, it'd be hard not to put them there. There are some people you could have a good argument that maybe it would be better simply because of the defense. Your defense is so important, and it's very, very critical as you get near a playoff situation and into the postseason. Right now, they are so far away from having a postseason defense that would be the one negative. But my gosh, the job you're right, Russell Wilson is doing. He's got that football team on his shoulders right now, carrying the whole football team.
And Coach, I agree. And with that division, that's the other thing with the 49ers and the injuries they're going through.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But, we got it's not bad. I like, I guess, where they are simply because of their offense and Wilson. But, boy, this is it's a tenuous situation for a football team with as poor as they've done on defense.
Yeah, walking a thin line. I think any coach can understand that. And, Coach, you better than most can understand that. They got to find some defense if they want to be the real deal. I mean, Russell Wilson can only do so much at times. He is going to be shut down at one point. I mean, against somebody. We saw Lamar Jackson. We talked about it. Everybody said Lamar Jackson. Like you said, from these commentators that we're seeing on TV, these professional commentators said it's impossible to slow him down or stop him, and that's what happened last night. So I guess impossible is nothing. I don't know. I feel like I've heard that before. But moving on here, number 3, the Green Bay Packers. Coach, I have been extremely impressed with the way Aaron Rodgers has been playing. Obviously, a lot of unrest there with Jordan Love, and they're drafting him in the first round. Didn't go out there and get him help. Aaron Rodgers, whether he is with Green Bay next year or whatever happens, I think he is proving that he is an elite quarterback. And people that said Aaron Rodgers is back, well, he never left. I mean, let's look at this. It's another year under Matt LaFleur's offense and getting the most out of guys. Remember, they did this the other day against the Saints, beating the Saints 37-30 without Devontae Adams, with guys like Allen Lazard. No offense to Allen Lazard, but he's not an elite number 1 receiver. And you know what? The Packers look good enough on defense to get it done. New Orleans stepped up a little bit, but, Coach, the Packers are 3-0 and looks like they're starting to run away with that division.
Yeah, I'm extremely impressed with the Packers as well. And Rodgers is he's unconscious almost, the job he's doing. He and Mahomes and Russell, we're getting some great quarterback play. And we got some others as well. But, I like Green Bay. I think you got to put them there. Listen, they're as good as the other people we've got in front of them. So we'll put them there as 3.
Yeah, number 4 here, Coach. Now, look, they got told on a little bit last night, and I think, once again, Steve Spagnuolo, that defense, Fred Robbins, that's his former defensive coordinator there, has got to be excited. But last night, the Ravens, boy, they just looked lost. And it's hats off to the Chiefs' defense. They put a stop to just about everything. And Lamar had less than 100 yards passing, had 83 yards rushing. Just a team that just did not know where to go. And once again, Kansas City continuing to keep the pedal down on the gas right there. The Ravens, number 4 right here at 2-1, Coach. Are they your 4th best team in the NFL?
No, not at all. We've talked about this game, and I've already said they're playing like a man with one arm tied behind them, and that's probably a pretty good analogy. They're better football teams than the Baltimore Ravens. They're just not a complete football team, in my opinion.
No, I think last night proved a little bit of that. There is some flaws to this team. And remember, I said, I'll admit it, I thought that defense was going to play lights out. I thought that they were so athletic, they were going to match up pretty well with Kansas City, and I was wrong. Kansas City had a game plan, and, boy, they just look good. So, luckily for the Ravens, they get the Washington football team next week. We'll see what happens with that. Number 5, the New England Patriots at 2-1, Coach. Look, they beat Las Vegas 36-20. Not saying a ton, but this team with Cam Newton is a little bit, obviously, a lot different team. But it's that the defense looks good, Coach. It's hard to pick against Bill Belichick, but at 2-1, Coach, the New England Patriots, your fifth best team.
You know, there's some real controversy there with me. I give a lot of credit, as I've said many, many times, to Belichick, and he will continue. I mean, they're going to be tough to beat, regardless of who's playing for them. But, you know, I just think there are a couple of teams that may be better than New England right now. One of them may be in their own division, and that's Buffalo. And just based on what's happened so far and what I've seen, and I give New England, I don't want to short those people at all because they're a good football team. They got an outstanding base to stem from. So, but there's some other football teams that would be in the running right there.
Yeah, I think that Bills team looks good, and you know, look, Rex Burkhead had a heck of a game, 3 touchdowns for him. But the Patriots get Kansas City on the road, so you know what? We're going to find out real quick where this New England Patriots team stands when it comes to making a deep run here. But number 6, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coach, we know the defense is good. Obviously, they beat Houston, the Texans, 28-21. But this is look. We saw what they were missing last year. This was an 8-8 team. Very poor quarterback play, and that's being very nice. That's being PG here for radio. But Coach Big Ben has changed this offense around. He is getting the most out of guys. Look, James Conner's being able to run the football, rush for over 100 yards. Deontay Johnson, all those guys, Juju Smith-Schuster, they look good. They really look good. They look like a solid football team, and they're competing in that tough division with the Ravens. Now, Coach, I believe me and you both picked the Steelers to win that division, and so far so good in my eyes. But, Coach, what do you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, the Steelers are one team that's certainly I think better than Baltimore. And I have no problem with them being placed well within the top 10 because they're a good football team, and Big Ben has made a big difference. I've got a lot of respect for the Steelers and the way they play. That great defense is going to carry you a long way, especially when the snow starts flying and the fields get messy and you name it. Defense comes up big.
Yeah, I would agree on that. That's the Steelers team right now, just as good as they've looked early on, is very impressive. And Big Ben looks good. You know, after coming off the injury, he's getting older, but you know what? He's Big Ben, and he's been around for quite some time, and doesn't look like he's going anywhere anytime soon. But we're going to take a quick break, Coach, and when we come back here, we're going to continue our power rankings. And we'll make sure we hit some of the teams like the Falcons as well, get your take on them, as they will not be in the top 10. Surprise, surprise. But we'll talk about all that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range, Highway 29 in Car City.
The United States Postal Service has been around since 1775, and since then, you can rely on the Postal Service to make sure what matters to you gets to your mailbox. You'd think you couldn't improve on that. But now, with informed delivery notifications, you'll know when those important packages and letters are coming to your mailbox, with an email every morning telling you what's on the way. It's the reliability of the United States Postal Service matched with the technology of today. It's time to get peace of mind. Sign up now for free at informeddelivery.com. Informed Delivery. If it's in the mail, it's in your email.
Has your home sustained damage from the storm? Before you start repairs, follow these steps to avoid fraudulent contractors and repair scams. Step 1. Photograph all damage to your home as soon as it's safe to do so. Do not remove water or debris before documenting. Step 2. Contact your insurance company for a damage assessment.
Ask the Better Business Bureau for referrals to licensed contractors. And remember, do your homework for your home's work.
Is your contractor on the level? Visit myfloridalicense.com or call Escambia County Building Services.
DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports, has a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes up for grabs. Every run, pass, and catch means more with DraftKings. It's simple. Just pick your lineup, stay under the salary cap, and see how your team stacks up against the competition. Download the DraftKings app and use code GREENY. For a limited time, new users can get a free shot at millions of dollars in prizes this week. That's code GREENY. Only at DraftKings. Make it rain. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Hey, this is Jay Williams. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Tuesday afternoon. Appreciate everybody tuning in as always. And look, we're talking about the NFL Power Rankings. Now we've went through 1 through 6, which obviously the Kansas City Chiefs won, Seattle Seahawks, Green Bay Packers, Baltimore Ravens, New England Patriots, Pittsburgh Steelers. Now that is according to Sports Illustrated, not our list. But jumping back into this, Coach, obviously, look, a lot of intrigue. And when we talk about this team, you mentioned them earlier, the Buffalo Bills. Now, when we talk about the Buffalo Bills, how about Josh Allen? Now, I've said it. I've admitted it. I just said he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. And, boy, he has come out and just thrown for over 300 yards in each game, rattling off 10 touchdowns with only 1 interception. Now, the thing is, Coach, this Buffalo Bills team just looks good. They really do right now. And I know a lot can happen. But as of right now, Coach, I would actually move this Bills team up the list a little bit. But we'll see. I know they still get, the Patriots are in that division. They still have to beat the Patriots. But, Coach, what are your thoughts on the Bills so far?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm extremely impressed. And you're right about the quarterback. I mean, my gosh. Josh Allen had 0 accuracy for a quarter, which is terrible. But he is like a new man. He's always had a strong arm, and he can wing it. And that comes in really handy in that Buffalo area. I can tell you, because of the winds out there, you get more wind in that stadium than you do probably anywhere else in the league. But they've got a good defense. They played extremely well. They beat a good football team down in the Lambs. And they've got a quarterback who's playing lights out. I like this football team. I think they should be ranked higher, certainly higher than the Baltimore Ravens. So yeah, let's move them up there and let them roll.
Absolutely, and we'll see what happens. Can't wait to see that New England Buffalo matchup this year. Going to be a lot of intrigue with 2 completely different styles of offense as of right now. Number 8, the New Orleans Saints at 1-2. Coach, they lost to the Green Bay Packers 37-30. We talked about Aaron Rodgers without his receiver Devontae Adams. How about Drew Brees without Michael Thomas? Now, Michael Thomas is obviously a dynamic number 1, one of the best receivers in the league. And look, I thought New Orleans got back on track a little bit on offense. Drew Brees, I believe, was 29-36. Look, people are talking about his arm. I think this is an offense that's stumbling a little bit with arguably the best receiver, like I said, out with a high ankle sprain, and that's Michael Thomas. But once again, this is they got Detroit coming in. They got to travel on the road. To Detroit. Detroit, big win over Arizona. This could be a get-right game for the Saints, and I think it's important, especially to stay tit for tat there with the Tampa Bay Bucks in that division. But Coach, I feel like the Saints are going to be okay. I think they're going through a little troubles right now. But, Coach, what are your thoughts on the Saints, and are you buying that Drew Brees' arm is just not there anymore?
No, let's answer that first. I'm not buying anything about Drew Brees not being there. Drew Brees is going to be fine. They need to get, obviously, Thomas back. He's He's a one-man show, really. And I have a little concern about their football team overall, and maybe in particular their defense. Now, let me tell you something. They can't afford to lose Game 3 this weekend at Detroit. And Detroit came on, won a big ball game last week. They may be at a point where they're ready to turn the corner a little bit, start putting some pressure on people. But the Saints cannot afford a loss. And this is not going to be an easy trip up there to Detroit. No, I don't buy the doom and gloomers, but I do think that they're going to have to find a little more pep and pop with their football team right now, especially on defense.
Yeah, and remember Marcus Davenport was out on that defensive line for the Saints as well. They could have used that big time. You've got to look. You're talking about him and Cam Jordan. Those are two dynamic guys on that defensive line, and it's a big difference when you're missing a guy like Davenport and a guy like Michael Thomas. This is a team that's been together for quite some time. They have gelled, and when everybody's healthy, this is a team to look out for. But yeah, I'm not buying the Drew Brees stuff either. It is what it is, and I know people are always looking for negatives. That's fine. But number 9, the Los Angeles Rams coach at 2-1. We just talked about it. They lost a close game that they may have even got a little robbed on that play, that pass interference. We're not going to get into any of that this early in the season. But nonetheless, Coach, this L.A. Rams team looks like the old L.A. Rams team a couple years ago here. Jared Goff's playing great. The running back situation has looked great with Henderson. The offensive line looks like a different offensive line, and the defense is still good. Look, you've got to give hats off to Buffalo. This has been an offensive team this year. They played lights out offensively. So the L.A. Rams coach, I'm looking at them as contenders this year, but they're the 9th best team right here in the NFL Power Rankings for Sports Illustrated. What are your thoughts?
Well, they're a good football team, and I don't have any major problems with that. And they lost a game this past weekend on the road in Buffalo. Tough place to play against a very, very good football team. Should not be a terrible blight on their record. They did come back and almost win that football game. You're right, the interference call would have made the difference. But you got to say, well, I don't know, throw in the mix here. What about the Titans? Titans are 3-0. But I have no problem with the Rams there being one of the top 10.
All right, Coach, number 10 here, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2-1. Look, I know people say, well, it was Denver, and Denver's depleted right now, but still, 28-10 win. They get the L.A. Chargers this week with Justin Herbert, and they've looked fairly well. But with Tom Brady didn't throw an interception. Gronk had 6 catches. They're starting to seem like they're gelling a little bit. Now, we said this is going to take some time. That's why it's so important for the Saints to get back on their winning ways. You don't want to fall behind in this division because the Bucs may not slow down once they get rolling. But, Coach, when you look at the Buccaneers and Tom Brady and the whole entire crew there, seems like, there's better days ahead here. I mean, it seems like you got some positives moving forward, but they got them at number 10 on the list. What are your thoughts?
When they put this football team together, that was they put it all in one basket. It was a great move, and I think put it in contention for the Super Bowl. Now, to make it all gel like you want it to, and like you want the production level to be, it's going to take a little bit of time, timing, familiarity, experience with each other. All those things start coming together. You saw it come together more last week, and little by little, maybe bigger steps than you might think. But I think by mid-season, I've said this continually, by mid-season you will see a much different Tampa football team, a formidable NFL team that nobody would want to play. I think Tampa's one of the better teams in the league, and eventually we'll be up there in the 1, 2, 3 bracket.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about guys like Gronk starting to, look, we finally saw him catch some passes. Obviously Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, those guys, the running back situation, Tom Brady back there. You're right. The defense, by the way, is a pretty athletic defense, and they're getting better. And once again, if they got an offense that can control the game a little bit, control the clock, they're going to get even better compared to what they were last year. And they weren't bad last year. They just got put in some really bad situations. But moving on here, number 11, Coach, my Tennessee Titans. You know I'm excited, 3-0. You'll take it however you can get it. But you know what? This may be just kind of how the Titans are this year. Sometimes it's not a pretty win, but it's a win nonetheless. But, Coach, offensively, the Titans look good. Defensively, they got some question marks there, but I think they're going to work through it. Losing guys like Jarrell Casey, that was a guy that was a clogger up front. And you know what? Some guys are having to step into some positions right now, and I think it's a little bit of a change. But nonetheless, the Titans 3-0 and number 11 on the list, Coach.
Yeah, I like the Titans. You know that. Certainly I told you do. But they well, I'm thinking about it now. The first ball game of the year, their defense had to step up to win it. Then the last two, their offenses had to play extremely well, but they won all three. And I'll tell you, they've left themselves no margin in those three games. It's been tight, each one of them, which is good in the long run because I think it builds a certain thing with your intangible with your football team that lets them know that, hey, games can turn on a dime and just 1 point can make the difference, and we got to fight for every inch, every yard. And this type of football team we are, and it makes for a tougher, more hard-nosed football team, I think. I think it's a good thing from an intangible standpoint. So I make a long story short, I like the Titans, and I think they're gonna continue to be a contender. I think we got to be careful about this week, how this is handled, and whether they're going to be able to properly prepare for a great football team. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, but we'll know more shortly. That's for sure.
Yeah, the latest report we have is there's no any kind of postponements or anything. Well, obviously, I wouldn't expect that for maybe another day or so. We'll find out. But they're doing contact tracing and trying to figure this out. And remember, COVID, sometimes it takes some days to show up. So caution is one of the biggest things right now. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, I agree, Coach. Close games. Hey, if you can win those close games, that's something that this next team has not been able to do, and they are actually an onside kick away from being 0-3. Now, going down the list a little bit here, number 15, the Dallas Cowboys at 1-2. They were, like I said, an onside kick away from being 0-3 at this point. But guess what? They're actually, tops in that division, sad as that is right now, the best-looking team in that division. But, Coach, do you think the Cowboys are going to be able to put this thing together? Because I'll be honest with you, Dak looked good the other day, but this defense is just atrocious at this point.
Yeah, the defense is awful. They've got some shortcomings, but overall, offensively, they're moving the ball, putting points on the board. So I think it's got to get better for them, especially with as you stated, the division that they're in. They may be able to have a losing record and still win the division. So we just gotta hang on, see how things go there. They can't afford any injuries.
And the final team here, Coach, obviously one of the, a lot of fans from this area are Atlanta Falcons fans. Now they're 0-3, hasn't looked good. Obviously, you look at it, and this is a team that has blown double-digit leads quite a bit, 2 consecutive weeks. And, look, they get Green Bay on Monday Night Football. That's not the team you want to see when you're trying to rebound here. But once again, Coach, losing to the Chicago Bears 30-26, obviously the Dallas Cowboys and that onside kick debacle. We've talked about it, Coach. It seems like this may be some new regime coming in here soon. But how much do you put on the coach and how much do you put on the players at this point?
Well, that's a tough question. You got some people that are going to want to put everything on the coach, and some that are going to want to put everything on the quarterback. Usually those are the first two. But it's a combination of a number of things. There are some responsibilities here that you have to relate back to leadership because they're of the intangible variety. It's tough to lose 3 games in a row, blowing the leads that they had. And you go back and look at the Super Bowl, and then, of course, one of the most famous blown leads in history of football. And then you get into this year and 3 straight ball games. It's almost, that's so difficult to even think about. Now, this is going to create some problems with primarily with the players wondering, why didn't we do this? Why didn't we do that? Why didn't we run the ball? Why didn't we do this to close it out? How did we make decisions that help the other team win the ball game? And it's going to create a problem on their football team. That's what I'm afraid of. If you know that's coming, you feel that it's coming, it's inevitable, then you have to change the coach and whomever that would be responsible for football decisions. I think it could cost both Dimitroff and the head coach their jobs.
Yeah, I agree. And, it doesn't matter what locker room, from high school to college to NFL, if your players are already if they're questioning the coaching staff and the game plan and things like this and calls, it's a slippery slope that is probably not going to get better. So especially when you're talking about at the NFL level, these are grown men and other grown men. So, hey, it is what it is. But for the Falcons, we'll see what happens. But they got Green Bay on Monday Night Football. That is not, like I said, the team you want to see when you're trying to rebound right now, as Green Bay is one of the hottest teams in the league. But, look, we're going to go to a quick break, Coach. When we come back, we're going to talk about the SEC, do a little SEC power rankings, talk about some of the top teams. And, obviously, with a crazy week 1, we're excited that, look, we're back to SEC football, joining everybody. We're ready for Big Ten and everybody else to be back, but it's going to be some time. But nonetheless, we had some shakeups right here, and I don't think LSU fans are going to like it. But we'll talk about all that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
It's time for Straight Talk, just like football. You want the best coverage with your wireless network without your wallet taking a hit? Straight Talk Wireless gives you the same nationwide coverage as the big carriers, America's best networks, for up to 50% less. Just $45 a month for 25 gigs of high-speed data than 2G with an unlimited plan. No contract, no mystery fees. Don't get sidelined by weak protection. Get Straight Talk Wireless. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
The United States Postal Service has been around since 1775, and since then, you can rely on the Postal Service to make sure what matters to you gets to your mailbox. You'd think you couldn't improve on that. But now, with informed delivery notifications, you'll know when those important packages and letters are coming to your mailbox, with an email every morning telling you what's on the way. It's the reliability of the United States Postal Service matched with the technology of today. It's time to get peace of mind. Sign up now for free at informeddelivery.com. Informed Delivery. If it's in the mail, it's in your email.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Tuesday afternoon. Final segment of the show goes now. And, Coach, talking about the SEC, doing a little power rankings of our own here in college football. Now, look, I think what an eventful week, obviously, with Mississippi State upsetting LSU. Nobody saw it happening the way that it happened. Let me put it that way, for KJ Costello throwing for 623 yards. But, Coach, look, when we're talking about the SEC, some teams look good. Right near Alabama, number one in the SEC. Has that changed after week one, Coach?
Oh, no. No, Alabama's number one in the SEC, and they're going to continue to get better. I think Alabama's right up there. They and Clemson, the two best teams in the country. Yeah, the only disappointment really from for people for that Alabama game was the fact they didn't cover the 27 points according to Vegas. So that's that's a good start for them. Jalen Waddle looked good, Mac Jones looked good, everybody looked good for them. And like for Missouri didn't look terrible for what we expected. I mean, at least their quarterback play wasn't the worst, so a lot better than what we thought. Coach, number 2 here, the Gators. Look, Kyle Trask and his 6 touchdowns, 4 of them going to Kyle Pitts. Just a phenomenal job overall. And once again, don't leave out on that defense. That defense played well, but Ole Miss is an offensive team. They can score on anybody. Remember, they put 38 on LSU last year, who won the national championship. So I'm not as worried about that. I think if anything, it's more of a learning experience as they had some new guys out there. But Coach, boy, the Gators look good week 1. They did, and let me tell you, I said yesterday, and I mean this, Trask is certainly, now it's too early to be talking about winning the Heisman Trophy, but it's not too early to be talking about players that should be on a watch list. And I'm going to tell you, he should be on a watch list for sure. This kid is extremely impressive. I'm not going to take the time right now because we don't have it to talk about some of the attributes that he showed as a quarterback that I particularly look at, and they were considerable that he checked all the boxes.
Yeah, well, definitely. I want to talk a little bit more about that because I want to talk about the SEC quarterbacks tomorrow as well because there are some very intriguing ones. But, Coach, number 3 here, the Georgia Bulldogs. Look, they get JT Daniels back this week as now he's cleared. Little old Stetson Bennett, the former walk-on, comes in and saves the day after DeJuan Mathis just could not find it, and they were losing at halftime 7-5 to Arkansas. Coach, I mean, look, even with Stetson Bennett, 20-29 last week, JT Daniels, do you believe he's going to be the starter? And what did you think of that Georgia team this week?
Well, Mathis was the most ineffective, worst-looking quarterback that I saw in the SEC, all the SEC games that I had a chance to take a look at. I think JT Daniels will be the starter, and probably should from the standpoint of experience, at Southern Cal and playing major college football. I think, but I'll tell you what, their backup. They got to be very fortunate. I'm sure they did not plan on him playing, certainly in the opening game of the year. And he came in and saved that football team. I promise you that. He did a great job. So he needs to be kept on standby and ready to go because he's proven he can come off the bench and make things happen.
Absolutely. Moving on here, Coach, the Auburn Tigers, the other side of my family, big-time Auburn fans. All I'm going to say is please let Bo Nix throw the football to Seth Williams more because that is quite the combo right there. Look, the running game is skeptical right now as obviously they lost Boobie Whitlow. But, Coach, the Auburn Tigers' 4th best team in the SEC. What are your thoughts?
I don't have any real problem with that. I like Bo Nix. Let me tell you, I like Bo Nix. I think you hit the sweet spot there. If they will properly use him and throw the football with him, because they need some type of running game, and they've got to play defense. That they have to do. But if they'll use him properly, they're going to be in the hunt with anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Texas A&M number 5 there, and we'll talk a little bit about them. But I do want to get to Mississippi State at number 6. Now, they've jumped up this list. Coach, My only thoughts, Mike Leach, obviously the big upset in LSU. Are you drinking the Kool-Aid for Mississippi State, or is it way too soon?
Listen, I was drinking Mississippi State Kool-Aid back when Leach first came there. And then when he brought the quarterback from Stanford, a 3-year starter from Stanford, I really took a big gulp of the Kool-Aid. and I've said all along, Mississippi State is going to be a horror story for a lot of teams this year. I'm not saying they're ready to compete for the SEC championship, but as time goes on, I would hate to be in a position of having to play them. And a lot of schools are going to really hate it because they're going to win some ball games.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. And for those that said that Mike Leach didn't have the wide receivers to run that air raid, there you go. I know Stingley was out, but still, really good-looking team moving forward. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow, like we said. We'll get into more of the SEC and ACC and all of next week's games. Coach, you know what? That sound means it's time for us to go, but it's a pleasure as always, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
You bet. We'll look forward to it, JP.
Appreciate it, Coach. You stay safe, and we appreciate all the listeners out there. Like I said, we'll be back same time tomorrow talking some football with you right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
For Hometown Sports, your home to talk football with Coach K, Sports Drive with Chad Brillante, and Sports Call with Davis Allen. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola or become a sponsor, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
This is the Max Kellerman Show. Max Kellerman Show on ESPN Radio.
What's up, nerds? The Max Kellerman Show is on ESPN Radio, ESPN News, the ESPN app, and SiriusXM Channel 80, and on your smart speaker, 888-SAY-ESPN, 888-729-3776. The Max Kellerman Show is presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. But first, it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Name me the quarterback that you have ever seen who is as good as Patrick Mahomes. I did not say better. I said as good who ever lived. I'm including Dan Marino, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Joe Montana, Steve Young. Bring them. The man just turned 25 years old, Patrick Mahomes. In his first season as a starter, he threw 50 touchdowns against 12 interceptions, and the only reason he didn't win the Super Bowl is that a pre-snap penalty that was called to help the Patriots took back an interception that Tom Brady had just thrown to end the AFC Championship game. The Chiefs would have then gone to the Super Bowl, where I believe they would have beaten the Rams. Instead, Tom Brady gets the ball back, and Patrick Mahomes never gets to touch it in overtime. And then the Patriots beat the Rams in the lowest-scoring Super Bowl